Once upon a time, 3 writers helped crack open the indie publishing world. Then they rode into the sunset, building bigger stories, taking bigger swings, and learning what actually lasts when the noise dies down. Now the band is back together, older, sharper, and uninterested in shortcuts. This is the Smarter Artist Show with Sean Platt, Johnny B. Truant, and David W. Wright. It's the same 3 voices you know, talking about the craft and commerce of storytelling, from the work they're creating to the TV shows and movies they can't stop thinking about. Shop talk for artists playing the long game in a creative world that never slows down. If you've been here since the early days, welcome back. If you're new, pull up a chair. You're listening to the Smarter Artist Show. Let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to the Smarter Artist Show. I'm your host, David Wright, and these are my lovely co-hosts, Johnny B. Truant and Sean Platt. I'm going to always fuck up the order because I'm seeing as you appear on my screen and it's never the same. Anyway,
well, sometimes it's the same. There's only so many combinations that it could be.
That is true. Well,
we have a 3-bit encryption here.
So today was going to be our first useful episode.
You're something cool or you're something uncool. I keep fucking with you.
And 15 minutes before the show, Sean's like, yeah, let's do that next week instead for yeah. So,
well, what I said is, I know this is a ball buster. I'm so sorry, but this is for all of us. So this was supposed to be our
wait, Johnny's stripping.
Sausage
in here. I don't know that I feel like taking it all the way over my head though, so I'm going to do the infinity scarf thing.
I like the infinity scarf vibe. So yeah, we've been working on a whole new vibe for the pod. I mean, no, don't get me wrong, the podcast is pretty much going to be the same, but we'll know what our
more of the
are.
same.
And I have finished a book about what it means to be a smarter artist, and we'll have a whole site redesign, and we have lots of cookies to give away, which I know
I do like
very
the
very
bears
excited
in.
about cookies
Yeah,
of all kinds. So we just had a lot of work to do, and I just finished the book is still in edit, and I just finished notes on what we need to revamp the site, and I just didn't want anyone to feel rushed, and I also didn't want this conversation to feel rushed. It's cool. We have cool announcements, and we've been working on cool shit.
Is there fisting?
There is going to be fisting. Yes.
Thank God.
So we just need. For those of you not on YouTube, you missed Johnny's visual. It was great. So yeah, we bounced back to another, because a few weeks ago Dave had some pitches for hey, these are shows that we could do, and we just bounced back to one of those. So thank you, Dave, for pivoting.
Yes. So today's topic is going to be about getting older and wiser, maybe, as a writer. How our stories have changed as we've aged. Because when we started this, we were all very young. We were like children. And now we have families that are grown and moving out. And yeah, so it is going to be what we're talking about today. But first, we are going to start with something cool.
I feel like Dave should go last on the something cool because of, well, I don't know if you're going to make it your something cool, but because of that, potentially. Yeah,
I think this something cool is basically unwinding a previous something cool. Is that it?
Yeah. A rescinding of.
Okay, so Dave's rescinding his something cool for his something cool, a previous something cool for his today's something cool. Go ahead, Dave.
I think we were saying he should go last.
Yeah, you dumb fuck. Hold on, let me go first with the something cool I was going to say, because it's real.
But just blow past that shit because nobody's interested.
Have you all seen the trailer for The End of Oak Street?
I've never even heard of what that is.
It's by David Robert Mitchell. It follows, and produced by a Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams. It's got Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor.
I'm liking all this pedigree.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. I like everything you've said so far.
After a mysterious cosmic event rips Oak Street from suburbia and transports our neighborhood to someplace unknown, the Platt family soon discovers that their very survival depends on them sticking together.
This is either getting better or worse.
They're now unrecognizable surroundings. The kicker in the trailer is you see the house is everything's just changed, and then the last thing you see outside the windows is a fucking dinosaur running by.
That's rad.
I think so. I am disappointed that it's not It Follows 2, because I heard that he was and wasn't working on that, and I loved It Follows. It's one of my favorite movies, but this'll do for now.
I got a premise for you, Dave. I'll make it follows. Okay, it follows too. Okay, get this, guys. It's still following. That's what it's going to do.
Stop.
It's going to do it for the entire time. I thought you were going to say when you were doing that movie, the description that they have to escape in the think tank, the Platt family. I also think that there's a non-zero chance that Sean's going to start trying to convince people he's married to Anne Hathaway.
All right, what are your something cools? And then we'll go to my something not so cool.
Well, I know mine is ripe for ridicule, so Johnny can go first.
So mine is I discovered the movie Mandy, which I hadn't seen before. Have you guys seen that?
With Nic Cage?
Yes.
Yes.
Never.
Yeah, I didn't even know it existed.
I've not even heard of.
Well, it's going to be hard to talk about because the way that it was introduced to me was literally one of those things. Look up nothing. Don't watch trailers. Just watch it. Like that was the way it was told to me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go on that ride. And I feel like I want to give you the same directive. So it's
That's
hard
a way to
say,
watch all Nic Cage movies, really.
Well, the dude has not done there's no genre he hasn't done. Like there's no style he hasn't done.
And he's never done a bad movie.
I don't know that I'm going to agree with that, but he certainly has done a lot of good ones. And you forget some of them. Like you forget the breadth of his catalog.
A Wicker Man was so awesome.
So I don't want to say a lot about Mandy. I will give you kind of the genre because
is there a version of that movie that's not My Stepmother's Name?
There's one called Denise.
Okay,
it's the exact same movie, but it was rebranded.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll check that at my local streamer.
That'd be cool if there was a cut that was like that, and just I don't think Mandy is said too many times in the movie, so just like you just overdub it, like with a totally different voice.
That's coming. That'll be like an AI feature. Like,
yeah.
I don't,
year after next.
I don't know why, but when Sean says stepmother, I started thinking of that song Stacy's Mom Has Got It Going On.
So by the way, have you seen the video for Stacy's Mom or only heard the thing? The song?
I've seen and heard it, yeah.
Because
ages ago.
Once I saw the video, I was like, oh, this is sincerely creepy. Like this is way fucking intense. When you realize that the kid singing about Stacy's mom is like 13. Or if that.
It's riffing on Fast Times and yeah.
I get it, but the idea that this like 12-year-old kid or whatever wants to get with, a 30-something-year-old woman is deeply disturbing to me. And Stacy, of course, that he is supposed to be with is also like 12.
Yeah, I feel like all the songs 20 years ago and beyond, they all are like problematic in some way or another. Wingers, a winger of all bands, that she's only 17. Like
I think that was wrong at the time. I don't think that's new, right? Like I think that was at the time that was wrong.
Have you ever heard well, of course you have, but like I
was 17 at the time, so I figured
in the 60s. It's like it's so thinly veiled, the shit that they are singing about.
Who?
All of them.
Oh yeah.
You know what's a song with a hidden meaning that most people don't get? You guys, this is going to blow you guys away. The song is about sex. You're never going to Cherry Pie.
I heard that. I read an article about that once.
Yeah. Anyway,
to close that song's royalties, by the way, I think is solely coming from strip clubs now. Nobody else is playing it.
Yeah,
and Hostess.
I think that. I think that.
Yeah, that. Well, no, rock stations played it then
for like an hour and a half.
So to close the loop on Mandy, I will just say that it is a horror film that is trippy. Let's just put it that way. And if you choose to watch it, Sean, which I would recommend, I don't know that it's a watch for Cindy.
Okay.
So
all right, what's your something cool?
Well,
Bad boy.
I'm warming up my ridicule shoes.
I know you guys are going to make fun
dancing.
Of this one. No, but it's in that same
yeah.
It's a domestic thing for sure. So we have a wasp problem, right? Like, Johnny, do you get those big red, just giant fucker wasps?
A little bit. I was trying to get my head around a joke involving white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, but I failed on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and answer your actual question.
Take it over
Right. We have a wasp problem. I go outside to get the mail, and they're like, excuse me, what? There's too many mixed races in this community. No, we do get them, and I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. Do they actually? I imagine they sting, but they've never really been a problem. They strike me as like, you know how like the smaller of a lot of things is actually more dangerous. That like not the little scorpions we get, but like the mid-sized scorpions are supposed to be more dangerous than the really big ones. That sort of thing. So I didn't know. I thought that they were maybe not that harmful.
No, they're they're pretty nasty. So this will be our third summer here in this house. Our first summer here in this house, Cindy was taking Fisher out just like into this little side yard. And when she swung open the gate, there was like a little nest on the gate. And a bunch of them came out and she got stung 3 times on the forehead. And it was bad. Like it swelled up and it was there for months. So there's some like PTSD around these wasps, and they're just out of control right now. Where in the I don't know if it's the area we live, I don't know if it's a specific house and all the eaves or whatever, but their moment it got hot or started to, go into spring, they were kind of everywhere, and then they receded a little bit, because it got cold again, and then it's bad. We have this cool deck, but we can't go out to the deck because all the eaves are up there, and they're just constantly building nests in different places. And like you go out the front door, and it's like they'll just like swoop in.
Can't
And
you
so
get that spray that shoots like a mile?
Yeah, dude, we buy it in bulk, and we keep going through it. But they're just like build another nest.
Okay, you don't have a wasp problem. You have a wasp opportunity. Hairspray, and a lighter, and you got a fucking fun time. Let me just say.
It's a
I
wasp.
think that may be
opportunity.
my favorite redirect ever. You don't have a wasp problem. You have a wasp opportunity.
So the it's a very simple solution, which is why this little domestic thing is my something cool.
Burn down the
because
house.
This is so simple and it's so cool and it seems to be working now. So there's all these suggestions like, oh, use peppermint oil and whatever. But the best thing that's actually worked so far is wasps are super territorial. And so if they think there's another nest around,
You bring a New York wasp over.
I'm stinging here.
all we've done is like crunch paper bags into like a crumpled ball and like put them up in the eaves, and the wasps are fucking stupid. Like, oh, that's another nest, and they go elsewhere. So they're like, all we've done is crumpled paper bags. This was a huge problem. We're spending like, I don't know, $100 a week on like wasp spray that's not working, and the crumpled paper bag seems to have like outsmarted the wasps. So that is my something cool.
And folks, you've just seen a preview of our new pivot is going to be Heloise's tips with Sean.
I found that if I see dumpsters around the neighborhood, then people stop driving Cybertrucks through.
Also, though, you get a lot more raccoons to play with, so it's a win-win.
That's true.
Johnny, sorry to Dave, what is the Cybertruck population of rural Florida?
Every third person has one.
Yeah, it was weird. Like around here,
I think they gave them out for free at the last Kid Rock concert.
Austin is like the Tesla capital. And for a while, I could not leave the house without seeing 3 or 4 Teslas, or not Teslas, but Cybertrucks specifically. And the rumor was that Tesla was giving them to employees to drive. And now I don't see them nearly as much. So I'm wondering if like people got embarrassed and returned them.
They
if the
all moved to
employees no
Florida.
longer do it. But Johnny, have you seen less people driving Cybertrucks? Or
Well,
about the
I
same?
still see them, and I know that I'm reporting accurately because I have a visceral hatred reaction every time I see one. So I haven't had that reaction less often.
So in where I live in Florida, they double down on the Cybertrucks. Not only do they have a lot of them, they paint them in very garish colors and like military camouflage. They want you to know they're there. They got big American flags on them. It's
We have a
an
Barbie
eagle
pink
holding a
one in my
machine
neighborhood.
gun.
It's like like a rolling Pepto-Bismol garbage truck.
I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's a joke that was played, and the next one is going to be Tesla is going to start making Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles and marketing it to the same people. I think we just lost our whole Cybertruck driving podcast listenership.
That's
Well,
a
I
shame.
would drive the Wienermobile because that's just cool. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where to go after that.
Yeah, right. Nobody ever does.
Okay, so yeah, my something cool, uncool. So in a previous episode, I don't remember what number, I spoke about a movie I was looking forward to called Undertone. And I don't want to shit on a movie,
But I'm
especially
gonna.
Well, no,
Well, to
no,
be
no.
fair, Dave did this off air, and he's like, I don't want to shit on this movie on air. And then a great discussion started to evolve, and Johnny and I both like pounced on it. We're like, why won't you do this on air? Because this is good stuff.
Well, now you just promised something that we will not deliver on.
Well, to be clear, the conversation is over, and you're getting like the sloppy seconds here. So this is not going to be good.
So I went into this movie with very high hopes, and I liked all of it up until the very ending. And I don't know if it's one of those movies where I'll come back to and eventually like The Witch. Like, I didn't like that ending either, but eventually.
Dude, same. I didn't like the ending of The Witch the first time I saw it, and then the second time I saw it, I loved it.
So I don't know if it's my expectations or what, but I just remember at the end. So my son, I wanted to see it with my son, but then he went and saw it with a friend of his. He came back and was like, "You want to go see it?" He wanted to see it a second time. So I was like, "It's got to be good." So we go a second time. And at the end, the way the ending is just so abrupt and like it didn't satisfy in the way that Hereditary didn't satisfy me. And I haven't watched that one again. But all the rest of Hereditary, I loved most of it.
I thought you described Hereditary as incredibly grim almost from the start.
Yeah.
And this
it was
is part of
depressing
my
as hell.
counter. So I haven't seen Hereditary, but I do know that there was this. So you set my expectations for Hereditary. And the first time I heard it talked about was on this podcast or a different podcast with the three of us. And you said it, and it was the reaction was so intense. I was like, well, Dave didn't like it, and Dave likes dark shit. Like, this is the movie to be avoided at all costs. And ever since, I've heard little drips of like how great that movie is and that people should absolutely watch it. And I'm just thinking of like my history with you, where a lot of the movies that you loved, I watched and I was like, what the fuck? And a lot of the movies that you hated, I watched and I was like, so like, what was it? Was it so I didn't actually like No Country for Old Men, or it may have been one of those. There's a few movies
There
I
Will Be
confused.
Blood. Is that
There Will Be Blood. So I don't.
Yeah, I have PTSD from certain P.T. Anderson movies. So,
but
I consider.
There Will Be Blood. It was like somebody, like a guy left his kid or something, which is traumatic.
My boy!
But it was like your reaction was based entirely, and it was a blip for me. I was like, well, that sucks, but other things suck. So I think we're not calibrated right, and so this is making me think maybe I need to watch Hereditary and Undertone.
Well, okay, I can't speak to Undertone, but Hereditary is beautifully shot and it's beautifully made. Like, it is, I think you will appreciate the craftsmanship of it. But where I agree with Dave on this one is that the ending is such a fucking bummer. And it's not just that it's a bummer, it's like
The midpoint's a bummer too, where the
well, it's
so we're not going to spoil anything, I think. Do we agree on that? Any of these movies, we're not going to spoil any movies, right? We can keep talking about this.
This isn't a spoiler. It's just that I watched Hereditary and it gets to the end and I'm like, okay, so 2 hours was building up to this bullshit, and I felt disappointed. So right now, Sydney and I, well, not anymore. We abandoned it yesterday, and I could be.
Was it a child?
No, it was not a child.
Because if you're in a movie, There Will Be Blood. That doesn't really matter. You have no obligations to your son.
Do you know that that movie or that show on Netflix? It's called Something Very Bad is About to Happen or is Going to Happen.
I don't know.
I haven't watched it yet, so don't spoil that.
I'm not going to spoil it, but
it's a documentary about Dave.
And Dave, I'm actually very curious because you will watch it and I want to know what you think afterwards. So it's the producer of Stranger Things and the director of Baby Reindeer. And I really liked Baby Reindeer. In fact, we started watching Baby Reindeer again last night to watch the taste out of our mouth for Something Very Bad is going to happen. But Something Very Bad is going to happen. It just seemed like it was just setting up these cool set pieces with no actual follow through. And I just felt like it was building up to something and I could just feel it going to an end that was just going to be so supremely disappointing. I just pulled the cord. 3 episodes, like it's 8
so you
episodes.
didn't even finish to see
we
if it
watched
would
5 of them. No, and I could be totally wrong. Like I could be totally wrong that it is good and it does finish out. But I just got this creeping sensation, and I've watched enough shit in my life to like kind of trust my gut on it. But I could be wrong. I'm very curious. I will watch the next 3 episodes if you tell me that I should.
What was the title of it again?
I think it's called Something Very Bad is Going to Happen. It's about somebody.
That is what the doctor said to my mom when she delivered me.
True story.
You know what you should watch? I Saw the Devil.
I kind of feel like we should all watch that again and see if we were wrong.
I think you were. It's not nearly as bad as you all.
I was
No,
hearing
it might be
a
worse.
podcast that I listened to talk about a film called Martyrs, which goes on my never to be watched list. It kind of
I
joins
have that
this
on my to be watch list.
I've heard it's one of the most brutal watches you can watch. So of course,
Yeah,
Dave, watch it tomorrow.
It is interesting. Like for Gore, I'm not a Gore person at all. I don't like gory movies per se.
Johnny,
But
we're
I'm
thinking
also-
about an Al Gore joke just now.
And
Do you remember
Inconvenient-
the Al Gore? It was like a ringtone or something in The Simpsons. It was like, "You are hearing me talk."
So I
No,
don't
weirdly, when I think of Al Gore, I just think of that random non sequitur in Birdemic where they go.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, they go on their date, and they go to see
Well, they go to see An Uncomfortable Truth,
yeah, An Inconvenient Truth.
An
But,
Inconvenient Truth.
but
yeah.
it hadn't been in theaters for like years, and it was just like this random thing so they could talk about the environment.
All right,
Oh,
so Dave, continue with your Gore thing.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't like gory movies, but I'm also like, when I see a gory movie, I'm like kind of desensitized to it in that it doesn't really affect me. But if I see real life blood or anything, especially like on a kid or somebody I know, like there's a visceral reaction, like very jarring.
When are you seeing blood in movies on people you know?
No, in real life, like if somebody I know is bleeding or something, there's like that raw
So-
panic and
but what do you do? Just leave the light out in the basement?
yes. Oh, so for instance, when my son was a baby or a toddler, he got like croup or something in the middle of the night. We had to rush him to the hospital, and we had to hand him over to this lady that was going to give him X-rays, and she had to hold him down. And the entire time, he's screaming, he's confused. He doesn't. All he knows is his parents just gave him to some strange lady that's holding him down. He's probably gonna have trauma about it. And at the time, I knew it had to be done, but I was visibly shaking and wanting to punch the lady, because she was hurting my son. It made no logical sense whatsoever, but that was like a gut visceral reaction. And yeah, so, but gore in movies, I know it's fake. I know it's, it doesn't affect me at all. So
What about Gore? But like, I don't even know what the word for it is. But like,
It's
have
like
you watched?
psychological fuckedness.
No, I don't even mean that. I mean like have either of you watched The Pit?
not yet.
Okay, so it's not gore. It's like it's an ER, right? So it's an emergency trauma, room. And so
Yeah, no Wiley needed a new medical drama. It's like ER's over. Let's do ER again.
Well, I put off watching it until it won all the Golden Globes, and then I thought, okay, well, I'm curious, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, that's a genre I don't like because
Yeah,
it's too real. It's like I'm just like, no thanks. Give me monsters.
Yeah. Okay, so Johnny, that's exactly it. It is very real, and so someone comes in and they've got like a bone sticking out, but it's not gore. It just feels like almost voyeuristic, and it does
Yeah.
feel realistic. How do you respond to that, Dave? Because I find that very, like when they're taking a scalpel and slicing into somebody, that's very hard to watch.
Yeah, the more realistic it is, the harder it is. Like a gory movie like Terrifier, where he's chainsawing a woman in half. Like I thought it was stupid. I didn't enjoy it, but I wasn't like visibly shook by it. But more realistic, yeah, it's more difficult, especially like if it's a person that doesn't deserve to be hurt. Like it's not like the bad guy getting his spine ripped out in Mortal Kombat or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
It's-
Like so in The Pit, Cindy will turn her head if a scalpel is going into skin. Like that's too much. But a month ago we were at the movie theater watching Send Help, and Rachel McAdams is killing a boar, and there's just like gallons of blood, like just like raining on her, and Cindy's laughing hysterically.
wow.
It is done for comic, like it's so over the top that like you almost find the thing funny, like it's so ridiculous. But it's not really the amount of blood, it's the tone, I think.
Yeah, I don't like animal violence either, whether real or like Johnny with dogs.
That's
and
Johnny's
stuff.
thing with the dog.
Yeah, I don't like it either. The other thing I don't like is on sports when you're watching a game and somebody like gets hurt badly, like ankle, especially ankle or knee injuries that just look bad because I've had that injury, I freak out. I can't watch that. Like one
we
time
can
we
have a
watched
show
the guy.
today, just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
What's that?
Sean said, "Are we going to have a show today?"
No.
Can I? I want to shoot. I should shoehorn in one more quick something cool because I probably should have started with this and saved Mandy for next week. So I went to Planet Comic-Con this past weekend in Kansas City, and a long time OG, C. Dennis Moore. I don't know if you remember his name.
Yeah, hey, say Dennis Moore.
And I don't think he knew about this show until I mentioned it. But anyway, so I'm sure he's listening. He brought The Beam, Fat Vampire, and Dream Engine all with the original covers for me to sign.
That's
and
really
that was
cool.
I was like, shit. Like I did not remember those covers. And actually looking at the Beam cover in particular makes me kind of wonder if I want to try that cover again. The only problem would be that the sequels, right? Because I'm not going to
you could
commission.
just do it with a different color, maybe.
You could, but I think that feels cheap to do that. To just like tint the same image. Or something.
I actually.
But it was cool to see those three covers. Yeah, that's the one. And the Dream Engine with I have that one over there. I think I have a Beam too. I have all three. But like it was, and do you remember the original Dead City cover? That would have been a cool one to bring.
Yeah, I do.
The one that we made Clarissa do 20 times. That was a fun
do.
one. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in because that was a really cool moment.
Well, I do think that and what we were talking about before, like the goriness in movies, like I think that's changed over time, along with my writing. That gets into the topic of today.
There we go.
How our writing.
Do you remember who we thought this looked like?
Terminator?
I don't.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Well, I see it now, but I don't remember thinking it in the moment.
Yeah,
Doogie Howser's zombie.
It came in the Clarissa sent the cover in, and then we were like, once it was said, we couldn't unsee it.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, that's actually a deleted scene from Starship Troopers 1.5 that was never released. All right, so getting older and writing differently.
Yeah. So, all right, so I'll just start with, how has your writing changed? Not just like, that it's better, because obviously, hopefully you improve over time, but how has your writing and what you want to say changed since you started?
I don't know that mine is better. Maybe it's just where I am right now, but it's been hard to get back on that horse. Like, I think I was better when I was just like boom, boom, boom. And I'll get back there. But it's like there was a carefree bravado to it that I lost. And I lost it for a number of reasons. And I think I can get it back. But it's like you start to be aware that other people are paying attention. You start to be aware, like you talk about writing and stuff like we do all the time. And you start to think, where is the midpoint? Where is the first act climax? You start to think in mechanical terms and just.
So,
yeah.
Do you worry that the advice you give, or because you're seen as somebody that gives advice on writing, that you're not following the rules and you're going to be judged more harshly?
I don't care about judgment. I know what that sounds like, but I kind of don't.
Do you remember, Dave, when Johnny said his favorite writer was him?
No, it's totally true. But as funny as that is, and I agree, we should laugh about it. That is my approach. I make what I make for me the way I want to make it. And fortunately, Sean will usually indulge me in that. And then as long as I can find an audience, that's what I want to do. Like if the day comes when I can't find an audience, okay, then maybe I'll pivot. But no, I make what I want to make. Honestly, yeah. I always have.
I agree with that, and I think it is fun. It does give a very specific flavor to what we do, and I appreciate that. But I will say that as your partner, I did notice that. I have noticed that like once you started thinking in terms of structure and how things were structured, like it got like that carefree abandon that you used to bring was like your swagger showed up in the best possible way, at its best. And it is harder now because I can just like I can feel Dave in his head on the page, I can feel you in your head on the page. I haven't really in Heathens, but there was like a big, I can feel the stop and startiness of Heathens, but I can't feel you in your head. Where there was like a few years span where I could really feel you in your head.
But I wonder, I don't know that that's getting older or if that's just life. getting in the way, or the natural progression of the fact that we were doing this on a podcast and talking about it. Like, in other words, so I just turned 50. I don't know that that the 50-year-old me writes fundamentally different than the 25-year-old me, although maybe he does. I think it might also be that the journey we've undertaken in the meantime, it wouldn't be 25-year-old me, it'd be 35-year-old me. But you know what I mean? Like, that might be a thing too.
Well, I would say that for me, like there is a big difference. I'll be 50 next year. So I didn't start writing until I was 32. And there is a big difference between early 30s and late 40s, just perspective, all of it. But I think that when I first started out, I had the luxury of we talked about this a little bit last week. I had no idea what was possible or what was weird, or I didn't have any schooling to unlearn. And so I was just so experimental and willing to try anything. And I am now also, like, I'm still very experimental. I'm still like eager to try new forms and new ideas and all of that. Like,
What do you
love
think
it.
Dave's trying right now?
I don't know, but he has gone dark. Dave doesn't want to sneeze on camera. I think that's just it. So I'm still as experimental as always, but like I have enough structure and form now. It's like, okay, you know the whole adage that you need to know the rules so that you can break them. I feel like that's true for me now in a way that it didn't used to be. Like, I didn't know the rules, but I was just breaking them. And so there was a lot more trial and error. And now it's not really trial and error, it's experimenting with new forms. So because I'm not as experimental with books, say, because I've written all kinds of different books and all kinds of different genres, now I want to experiment with different kinds of scripts or different kinds of art altogether. Like, language is still the common denominator in everything that I want to build. Like, it is built around narrative and story and language, but I'm way more experimental with form in a way I wouldn't have had the confidence 15 years ago. My confidence came from I can put sentences together, and so I'm gonna do that, on the page as much as I possibly can.
What about you, Dave?
Like I remember writing all the way back to my childhood, and I feel like the kinds of stories I've told have changed. I think then I was just aping whatever I like superheroes and Star Wars and stuff like that. And then in like my teenager years, I was writing more horror probably at that time, but it was very like stupid, simple horror, like a slasher book where there's no real rhyme or reason for what's
You don't even like
happening.
slasher now, like.
I know, but that's when we were kids. Like the fucking movies that we saw, like Friday the 13th, and just after Halloween. And for Halloween, I thought wasn't really a slasher film. I think it was a bit more artful. But then you had a bunch of clones after that, and I just watched the hell out of that shit the minute I was able to get my hands on
I
it.
didn't see my first like slasher movie like Freddy or Jason or any of those. Like I was like 16 or 17. I wasn't allowed to watch it wasn't that I wasn't allowed to watch
There
those.
might be a titty in there.
Well,
A nipple.
yes, but also my mom was not like neither of my parents were into slasher movies at all. So it just wasn't part of our vocabulary. Like most of my movies experiences came from like, the Mr. Destiny collection. Like, we had so many VHS
The Mr.
tapes.
Destiny connection meaning multiple copies of the same Mr. Destiny.
Yes.
All Jim Belushi movies.
We had cable, and we had a lot of like, tapes. And so I was always watching stuff, but like they didn't care about slashers, so they weren't in our inventory. And then I also didn't care enough to see those when they were on cable. If I could, if I was watching something that I wasn't supposed to watch, it wasn't going to be that.
I also went through a period
Ruthless
where
people,
I was
outrageous fortune.
The parent in me that thinks about the effects of, entertainment and stuff. I'm pretty liberal in what I think my child should be able to watch. My wife is a little different. She's more strict on that. But I do think about the effects of like, what if he saw the things I saw when I was a kid, how would that affect him today? I think of stuff like that in a way I didn't think of when I was a kid. I just, whatever.
You know what ruins
my grandmother showed me
everything?
faces of death.
You know what ruins everything? Thinking about it. Like that fucks everything up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We do think about it a lot
think
more.
that the average, yeah, we grew up with like, horror movies and shit. But like, I mean, think about what is available to any young person with a phone. I mean, it's just,
Well, yeah, it's way worse today.
I think it's way, way worse today.
But I think there were subtle things like, for example, I don't want to go off on a political tangent here, but if you watch any movie from the 80s and you view how women were like always the damsel in distress and some guy had to come save them, that's such bullshit. And you see it now, but as a kid, you didn't see it then.
That's true.
I'm going to pivot away from horror movies if that's
Okay.
if that's acceptable. I was going to say, and there was something in what we were talking about there that made me think of this, and Sean, you'll remember this. There was a time when I became really aware of, because it was when there was a lot of like when cancel culture was really new and it was a whole thing, and it was like, now it's like it still happens, but number one, I feel like I know where I want to draw my lines personally, whereas in the time it was like a shock, right? And number two, I feel like a lot of that outrage has just kind of changed in nature or died down, or it's in venues that I never see. Like I'm not on social media. And I also give less of a fuck, right? Like I know what I mean. I know the intention. And so there's a lot more of not giving a
this
fuck.
really showed up when I wanted to write Adult Video the movie.
Still not sure how I feel about some of that, but yes.
Well, it wasn't an actual movie. The book was going to be called Adult Video the Movie, and the premise was they were going to make, the gang from Adult Video was going to make the movie. And there was just no rhythm to it. It was like there was like bubbling fear, like, is this going to get us in trouble? Can we say these things? And so like the and it's not that anything that we said is like good or bad in history. It was that didn't exist the first time when we wrote those stories. It was just like, is this funny? Like that was the baseline. Is this funny? Let's write. And that wasn't the baseline anymore. It was like, okay, is this going to get us in trouble?
No, but I also feel like looking back on it, because I'm like I just said, I feel like things have changed a little bit and I don't care as much about that sort of thing. But I don't know that I could write it now either. And I think it might have something to do with, it's like, how
you're older and more mature.
Well, no, I'm definitely not more mature. But it's like, how like somebody will expose himself to be a fucker. So let's just, I don't know. Like who's somebody who got Kevin Spacey had a bunch of shit for a while, and I don't know if he's forgiven now or whatever. But and this actually didn't happen for me with Kevin Spacey, so I don't know what that says about me. But there's this phenomenon of like, you can deliberately turn away from somebody who you think that's problematic. And it's like, that's the canceling thing. But then there's this also like, I just don't, and again, this didn't happen with Spacey for me, but it's like, you just kind of don't feel like watching him anymore. You know what I mean? It's
that totally happened with Spacey for me. I can't watch. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Seven and The Usual Suspects are just such good movies. And I can't like discredit, Fincher or the other actors or anything like that. So that's harder for me, but it's like that. It's like, it just, because I went back and read some of that and it's super funny, and I don't think I could do it. I just don't think it's, I don't think it's in my writer's vocabulary as much anymore.
Yeah, but that's exactly the point of this episode, right? Like, how do you change as a writer? That's a good example of how you changed as a writer. Like it's not as interesting to you and it's not as rewarding. I think you're really driven by the reward of what you're writing because you are your favorite writer. And so you wouldn't necessarily read Adult Video. So
I would. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Would.
All right. Well, that's interesting. If you would read it, why wouldn't you write it?
It's just not the right time. I don't know what else to say other than that. It just doesn't fit. No, it doesn't feel right. Sometimes you feel like writing a drama, or sometimes you feel like writing a comedy or whatever, and it just doesn't. That particular flavor doesn't feel right.
So it's just that it doesn't spark you. It's not that you would have any objection to it. It's that it doesn't light you up.
I guess. I mean, the weird Adult Video and some of those other like erotic comedies, right? Like they were a weird in between. I don't think people know a lot of this, but we were trying to do erotica at the time, but we couldn't just make people fucking. Like it just, we had to like make big plots and stories, or they were funny.
Spoiler alert, the existing audience for that erotica line did not want story or comedy. They definitely didn't want comedy.
I mean, dude,
Who put pizza in my porn?
Well, so-
I just want the porn.
I just want porn. So The Future of Sex is one of my favorite series, but like we originally wrote that as that was X. Like that was
That had to be R'd up.
we dialed it down to a hard R because number one, it was weird because we started writing it. And I know this is weird. Like looking back, it's weird because we wrote it with the mandate that this is for an erotica line. And it's true of the comedies too. So the mandate was there because that's what it began life as. So it just naturally had to have all this really explicit stuff in it. But the story was what interested me. And so when I got to those parts, it almost felt shoehorned in. There were times in adult video where we would write the whole thing and forget the sex scene. So we'd have to go back in and shoehorn in a sex scene.
I remember the specific episode. It was when Brian the boss came and you had to write that whole thing.
Right, like I had to do
because
something.
we got a whole episode done and there was no sex scene because Future of Sex was about the premise and the characters.
So Brian coming in as adult video, but Future of Sex, yes, I just want to make a hard stop on that, but yeah.
Yeah, so Future of Sex was about character and premise, and adult video was just about comedy. Like it was just, I mean, the characters were funny, but it was all about like, how many jokes can we get? How much can I in the beats make Johnny laugh? And then how much can Johnny make me laugh when he writes the story?
It's still
like,
one of Robin's favorite. I mean, she's super lowbrow in that way, so it works out. But like Future of Sex that was weird because that was like, it's more sci-fi than it was erotic, even when it was X. And it was like the erotic people didn't want sci-fi in their porn.
At all. Not even a little.
And the sci-fi people, most of them were like, what the fuck is all this explicit sex? So we had to pick a lane. And it was much more, I thought, a thought-provoking sci-fi piece.
Yeah, that story has a lot on its mind. It has a lot to say. The beats were really sophisticated on that. The histories of these characters were really sophisticated. The economics of, like, it's weird to talk about economics in, erotica, but that's what it was. Even when we tried to do that with dark romance and all of the Trillionaire Boys Club, Johnny, like we had all the economics in there. Like, how did these billionaires make their money? Like exactly 0% of our readers
Nobody gave
cared.
a fuck. Sean had like business ideas for all of the billionaires because we were like, Trillionaire is ridiculous. So you have to have a bunch of billionaires as a cabal and then that became a thing because they were like the syndicate or whatever it was. And I was like, that sounds cool because they're going to control the world, which feels less cool now because it's just so close to home. Yeah.
So I think that like as a person and as a writer, you have a lot of different tastes. You have a lot of different things that you might want to say. And I do feel as you age, maybe you don't want to be pigeonholed as one thing and have people expect that or judge you on that. Like, for instance, like worst show ever, like I was like the most neurotic version of myself. But that's all accurate. It's all me, but it's not all I am. And it's not like if somebody found me through just that or the podcast where I'm just ranting and stuff, they'll have a different expectation than whatever story I'm actually writing that's more thoughtful or more, it's got some heart to it. It's something that, people don't see in me. So I wonder, like, how much of like these other genres and stuff that you experimented in, wrote under pen names or whatever, like it affects you, not in a way that you would be canceled or whatever, but just people have a different expectation and view of you that they maybe won't give other stories a chance. Does that come into it at all?
That's legit. I've thought of polishing up some of those older, like Sean, what was the Kill Bill one? Fuck him, right? Like I remember laughing so hard reading that I was crying, right? Like in public, I was just like laughing so hard. And I've like thought, wouldn't it be cool to do something with that? But no matter how many times I look at it and say, wouldn't it be cool? I'm just like, I do not know how to satisfactorily introduce this.
That one is so into what it is. I've given this thought too, because I think that there's a few things there that I think the only way that would work, that one, the fairy tales are in this category too.
God, those were so funny, I thought.
They were very funny, but they're very wrong. They're very male too. Like it's not like the primary, erotica reader is female, not male. Right. But these were like the jokes on these are definitely skewed towards male humor, despite Robin liking them. Like the humor is definitely for like dudes to laugh at. So I think that Fuck Him and the fairy tales could both go into a like animation. Like they could be funny and like really just like raunchy animation. I think that would work. I think adult video actually could be a very funny sitcom. Like you would need to get rid of all the explicit sex, obviously, but it's got the beats of. I mean, it was written as a sitcom. It's got the single location. It's got the recurring characters. It's a workplace comedy. I think that
And I mean, the main character is called Seth, and we always imagined him as Seth Rogen. So,
Yes.
like, I'm picturing Seth Rogen, a younger Seth Rogen, unfortunately, in this. And I think it would be hilarious as like a Seth Rogen project.
Yeah. Well, Seth's definitely aged out of it because this
Right. It
character
can't
is
be
like
him.
22
But
or
he could
something.
produce it with the new Seth Rogen, whoever that is.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that getting older in your art is about like embracing where you came from and, like staying true to who you are, but also like not getting tired and, always being open to the best version of yourself and the best version of your art and looking for new ways to express yourself.
Go ahead, dude.
One of the things I was thinking about, when I came up with this, episode a few weeks ago was when I first started writing with Sean, I like Yesterday's Gone and stuff. I would put in scene like we'd kill characters, basically.
Dave likes to kill people.
Yeah, I love it. So I would kill characters in a story just because it wasn't particularly fashionable to do so. Like, oh, they would never kill the hero of the story. But then, Game of Thrones and then a whole bunch of grimdark stuff, like it just became like, oh, anybody will do anything. So it's not as much of a surprise or a gut punch anymore. But the thing about it is, like, as I reread some of the stories older, I was like, no, I wish I'd kept that character around, or I wish that was a little more of a hopeful ending. I do think most of my stories have a hopeful ending, because I don't like nihilistic endings. But I
What?
do I know.
Wait. Do we need to revisit the ending of Z2136 again or or not?
Well, see, that's an example of the older me or the younger me versus the older me. Like, I wouldn't even think to do that now because when the world sucks enough as it is, the real world.
Yeah, the end of
And
Z2136 was like, I don't know, made Hereditary look like Sesame Street.
yes, the world sucks. And if you look at my primary reason for writing ever since I was young, reading for me has always been an escape. I had like, uh, the shit that you go through as a kid, being bullied and stuff like that. And reading was my escape. And when I was younger, I was like, I want to write stories someday that'll offer escape to other people. And that's always been my goal. And I think I may have lost like what escape is in that middle part where like I'm just going to end like on a horrible ending, and that's not escape for somebody. That's not a good feeling to have. But even so, like I do delight in coming up with like a worst case scenario that like somebody might not think of, like just how could this get worse. That is a fun part of writing for me, and it works with my brain. But at the same time,
I'd like somebody to
Yeah.
listen to the end of this episode and they'll go back and listen to the beginning of this episode. I don't like bleak endings. I love bleak endings.
Oh, I don't like bleak endings. I don't like them now.
If you create them, you like them.
But no, I didn't. Like, I don't know why. At some point, I must have. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer to why I did. And I don't think any of our stories completely, with the exception of Z, which I don't even remember that ending. But yeah. Yeah.
There's one last thing that I was thinking of, and this is should be no surprise to regular people who've been paying attention to me that I'm going to reference Bob Schneider. By the way, motherfuckers need to start telling him how much I talk about him so that we can be besties. Like, people have not, he's not been coming up to me and saying, everybody's telling me how much you're talking about me. Come on, guys. But he's trying to ignore me. He's like, that guy's a problem. But one of the things that I've heard him talk about that really resonates with me, because I do, this sounds super pretentious, but whatever, I don't care anymore. I do consider myself kind of an art first author. And I think that shows up in the fact that I don't care. I'm not looking for commercial appeal. What I mean by that is that I don't necessarily, I'm making what I want for me. That's kind of my definition. And whatever writing partners will indulge that. So he's very similar with his music. And he talks about how he thinks that he'll always pick up instruments he doesn't know how to play. And he's like, I think that knowing too much gets in the way of making the art, because then you know the rules. Then you know how something's supposed to sound. And so this is like global. I'm not, but like a song is, 3 verses and a chorus in a lot of cases, or some form of that. But not knowing the chords, or not knowing the structure you're supposed to use, with obvious exceptions, you have to know something, can create more interesting things because you aren't bound by what you're supposed to do. And so I think that part of what, and you said something like this earlier, Sean, it was like, and I don't remember exactly what you said, but it alluded to, if you don't necessarily know that what you're doing isn't the right way to do it, and then you somehow do it anyway, it's like, I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs that I know have been successful don't know that they should have failed. So therefore they don't fail because they didn't know that they were failing and should fail. And I think it's a little like that, in that that a new author who's got a lot of, just kind of like, I'm going to shove forward. Like, I feel like I was this way, is you just kind of you just break things. You're just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to write in 7 different genres and I'm going to write in this format, or I'm going to mix this with that. And it creates some really interesting stuff that's different from what you usually see. And especially in the age of homogenization and AI and all this, the uniqueness is our differentiation point. So I'm kind of trying to find that again. Like, I want to know how not to do things while still not being incompetent, if that makes sense.
All right. Well, that caps this episode. Thank you all for listening and watching. And next week, we will have a useful episode.
This wasn't, I think this was useful.
It was cathartic.
It was cathartic. We learned that Dave doesn't like bleak endings, but does like bleak endings.
This is a bleak ending. Goodbye.
They chase the spark, we own the dark. They feed the scroll while we leave a mark. No tricks, no hacks, just the code they lack. Yeah. We stay on the rails while they fall off the track. Smarter artists never die. Yeah. We don't lay stone for spectacle, don't frame for applause. We build the boring way with discipline and pause. They expect the penthouse view before the footing is set. A crown without calluses, a win without sweat. The craft is in the mortar, not the hunger for more. Not the facade that cracks with a hollowed out core. You want the trick, it's tedious, it's thankless, it's true. Show up with intention till the structure starts showing you. They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack days. We build the house that never fades. Let them run, let them fly. Smarter artists never die. Yeah. Yeah. They chase vanity metrics that die at the peak. We pour the slow foundations while they sprint for the streak. We don't rent our attention to whatever blows through. We're setting corner posts for storms they never knew. We're not racing to the ribbon, we're widening the base. Let the footing fully cure before the frame locks in place. Every draft's another course, every session's a beam. We're not chasing momentum, we're constructing the dream. They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack days. We build the house that never fades. Let them run, let them fly. Smarter artists never die. They'll throw parades while you're still setting the forms. Pop champagne and glass towers while you're bracing for storms. Some nights you wonder if the blueprint's a lie, if the long game's just patience that forgot how to fly. But scars become low bearing when the structure survives. When the fast builds crack open and the slow ones stay alive. We don't ask for permission, we don't wait to be seen. We're drafting our futures in the quiet in between.
They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars.